Welcome to the channel and Dirt Rally 2.0 on Xbox One X in 4K. So in this video I'm going to show you each of the vehicles in the H1 class of rally vehicles, the lowest class. And there are only 3 of them, so I'm going to go through a time trial attack on the same circuit with each of these vehicles and give you my feedback, but also give you some feedback on my first impressions of Dirt Rally 2.0 and what I think about the game. Now, the circuit I've chose here, if you want to have a go at this yourself and maybe post your times in the comments, that would be cool. I'm time trialing in the Argentinian rally in a circuit called Camino a Cuneta. So first up, I'm in this DS Automobiles DS21, which is by far the heaviest vehicle in the group. Each of these cars, I've kind of done a test run, and then what I'm going to do is record the live run, which is the second run, just so I get a bit of a feel for the car before I start kind of commenting on it. And also, I'm still learning this track. This is actually, at this point, my second attempt on this circuit in the DS21. So it'd be interesting to see how I get on. What I am finding with, obviously, this DS21 is that it's very heavy. It's 2,756 pounds, this vehicle, so it's a real tank of a car, and I'm actually finding it quite challenging getting this round corners, both in and out of corners, because obviously it's quite slow accelerating. It's quite a sluggish vehicle, even though it's got that massive engine in it. It's actually struggling to get out of the corners because of all that weight. Oh, I clipped the back end there, and then that made me hit the wall. So I'm having a bit of a messy run on this second run, although to be honest, it's cleaner than my first run. I was struggling with this car quite a bit. I kind of got a bit more feel for it now. You can see my Ghost up in front there, so I'm only just marginally behind my Ghost at this point. And obviously my objective for this run is definitely to beat that Ghost and at least reel in a second or 2 on it, or maybe more. So I tried to take that early, nearly made it, just hit that wall. And then out we go. Once this thing gets moving, it's actually pretty quick. Like I said, its biggest downfall is its weight, because that is actually what's stopping it accelerating quickly. Even though it's got the biggest engine out of the 3 cars I'm gonna time trial, this weight versus power ratio that we've got going on here is not such a great deal for the DS21, because the weight is winning the battle and not the power. Now, the only real good thing about having something that's very heavy and driving it really fast is it's a lot more grounded. This isn't bouncing around too much in terms of being affected by the road surface. For instance, I'm just powering around this corner. I did tap the handbrake there, but I was able to flat that out without slowing down. Other than, like I said, obviously hit the handbrake just to kick the back end out a little bit. Again, a little bit of a touch of the handbrake, but I'm again flat out here, just pedal to the metal. Now, this is quite a fast old section, not too far away from here. After this next couple of bends, we've got a very nasty U-turn, which I've managed to mess up on my first run. Let's see how I do on my second run. Here it is coming up now. Now, it says it's a right-hand turn, but to me it looks more like a U-turn. You decide. So I messed that up a treat. Definitely can do better in this car once I drive cleanly, but obviously I'm going to try and keep it down to 2 laps or 2 runs of the circuit per vehicle, unless I'm doing really well in one of them. So into the finish, and overall not a bad car. I think it's easier to control at high speed. I did actually knock about 300ths of a second off my original time in the DS21, but it's quite a heavy vehicle, that. So I think that obviously a more medium-sized circuit that's more open would definitely suit the DS21. It's not so good for technical, that's for sure. So let's see where I am on the leaderboard, just out of interest. I doubt there's many people. Yeah, there's not a massive amount of people doing these time trials at the moment. So I'm 16th in the world at the moment. So let's see if I can improve on that on my next couple of runs. Next I'm jumping up in the Mini. Okay, so Mini Cooper S, 100 brake horsepower, 1,477 pounds weight, so considerably lighter than that DS21, and an engine size of 1,275. Now, I already did a run in this and got a 3 minute 17, so I was able to knock 7 seconds off that DS21 time. And the one thing about this vehicle is very manoeuvrable. A little bit too manoeuvrable at times, because obviously when you get out of a heavy vehicle like the DS21 and you get into this, it's kind of like chalk and cheese. You know, this car is just so different in so many ways. Handbraking it is very responsive, and like I said, you'll actually turn a hell of a lot quicker in this vehicle with a handbrake than you will with that DS21. So you have to be a lot more forgiving when you pull the handbrake, otherwise you'll end up kind of 180 in the car. Now this circuit, this Camino Caneta, is actually a really nasty old circuit. Hit the wall again. It's not very forgiving, you know, there isn't much room for error left and right. It pretty much is a very narrow stretch of circuit, and it's kind of, you know, choice between getting murdered on the rocks to your right or murdered on the cliff edge to your left, really. So it's quite tense kind of racing, or time trialing I should say. So I'm going to cut this corner in real tight. Nice. So I was able to get around that very tight there. So I'm taking a few risks now, because this is now my 4th run on this circuit and my 2nd in this Mini Cooper S, and I'm really enjoying this vehicle. It's very, very fast in terms of acceleration, getting in and out of corners, and like I said, it's just very manoeuvrable. It is a little bit twitchy, so you do have to, like I said, you can cause this to go too far if you, for instance, handbrake a little bit too hard or something like that. What I'm going to do, I'm not sure this car's going to make it, I'm going to flat this next corner out. After this section, there's like a slightly right turning corner, this one here. I'm going to floor it here. I don't think this is going to make it, but I'm going to try. No. Ooh, I'm on my side. Oh, not good. Now, I didn't think it would. I wanted to find out for sure, because obviously in the DS21 I was able to flat it out around there without having any kind of adverse handling problems, but the Mini definitely does not like going around that corner flat out. That's lost me some time, obviously, so it'd be interesting to see if I can reel in my 3 minutes 17 now. I'm still positive, so what's that, 2.6 seconds ahead, even after that error, so I've lost a good 2-3 seconds there, I think, which is a shame, because that could have been a big improvement on my time. Slightly better taking on that U-turn, definitely not great. You know, still a lot of room for improvement there. Still getting used to the game. Handling wise, this game is definitely tougher, I think, than the previous dirt games I've played, although the handling itself is actually better. I'll explain that in a bit. So 3 minutes 14, which was a 3-second improvement on my last time in the Mini, or my first time in the Mini. So next up, once we check the leaderboard, I'm going to jump into that Lancia. So let's check the leaderboard times. 8th place. Okay, so I made a jump of 8 places basically at the top of the leaderboard, and I'm plus 10 seconds on the leader's time at the moment. And the leader car is actually the Lancia Fulvia HF, so it'd be interesting to see how I get on here next. Okay, so this is the Lancia Fulvia HF, 115 brake horsepower, so it's somewhere in between the Mini and the DS21, 1,764 pounds, so it's still almost 1,000 pounds lighter than that DS21, but 300, well, just under 300 pounds heavier than the Mini. Now, I'm actually on my 2nd run of this vehicle now, and I'm actually finding this one a lot more difficult to handle. It's very twitchy. Power wise, in terms of power to weight ratio, it's very similar to that Mini Cooper S, but I'm actually finding it tougher to handle. it's very easy to upset the balance of this vehicle. So I'm having to be very minute in my movements, if you like, in the interest of not flying off the cliff or hitting the rocks. So put the power down here. But yeah, as I was saying, the game itself, I think the handling model on this is very good, but it's, as a result, it's actually a lot tougher game than the previous Dirts. But it doesn't have the issues that Dirt Rally had, because when Dirt Rally came out, it had some kind of weird setup, and the controllers for consoles weren't responding very well to it, and you kind of had to mess around with your setup to get a good setting to allow you to drive reliably well or without too many problems, because obviously it was set up for kind of a PC stroke wheel, steering wheel setup. This doesn't suffer from that, from my experience. I've jumped straight in with the controller and not messed around with any settings. The only thing I've done on all of these vehicles is I've set the softest tyre pressure possible on the vehicles, just so that you get more traction on this gravel. And obviously the soft tyre is what you want to drive on a gravel section. It is heavy gravel, so obviously you do have a chance of puncturing more, but obviously that's only if you make mistakes, e.g. hit the sides of the walls and stuff. So as long as I stay on the track, which I have been doing, you shouldn't have any issues with punctures and stuff. So I'm going to flat this one out like I did the Mini. No, I backed off the last minute there. That was not going to go well. If I pushed that all the way through, I was going in the fence there. So I backed out at the last minute. So I've got my Mini time up in front there, which is my 3 minutes 14 seconds. So I'm a good second and a bit away at the moment by the looks of it. Definitely not catching it on the fast sections. So I'm a second 100ths of a second down. And pushing it out. Graphically, this game now, the last two have looked pretty good, but this actually looks a lot better. And obviously being on Xbox One X, which I am, you're watching this in 4K, as I'm playing in 4K. And, there's a big difference in graphics. It looks really, really nice. I think there's still room for improvement at the size of the roads in some places. But in general, it's looking really nice. And over we go. So 3 minutes 16 on my second run in the Lancia Fulvia HF. So it's actually slightly slower than the Mini. As a result, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do one final attack in the Mini just to see if I can improve that leaderboard time. Okay, so back in the Mini Cooper S, this is actually, what is this? This is my fourth run in this vehicle now. So I ran a test lap before, and I just got a 3 minute 12, so I pushed another 2 seconds out of this track. But I reckon I can do better, So I'm going to push this again just to see if I can improve that leaderboard time. And along the way, just kind of, tell you a bit more about the game, really. So from a gaming aspect, the menu actually looks a lot simpler this time around for Dirt Rally 2.0. The graphics, as I said, are a big improvement on the previous game. The handling, I think, is actually an improvement on the original Dirt Rally game. It definitely feels better, although it is, it's a tough game. This is not an easy game. It's not a game you can just pick up and get straight into and start blowing away times. You're going to have to learn the handling of your vehicle and how best to, kind of get it around a circuit, if you like. That said, I think if you play a lot of driving games like me, you'll pick it up pretty quick. To be honest, this is, my first 45 minutes of racing here. So, I'm not doing that bad, I don't think, considering I've only been playing the game 45 minutes. But there seems to be quite an extensive career. They've also got free play modes. You've got the time trial mode, which is what I'm doing here, where you go up against all of the tracks online, worldwide leaderboards, try and get the best times. I quite like that stuff, as you guys know if you watch my channel. So it seems to be a fair package right now. I would say for me, this is bordering a 9 out of 10 game for me in terms of the driving rally experience. I'm actually quite impressed. Somewhere between an 8 and a 9 out of 10. Once I get into more of the game, I'll maybe, if I get a chance, drop a full review, but for now, my first impression, no less than an 8 out of 10, but getting close to a 9 out of 10 based on my experiences thus far. I do really like what I'm seeing here. And I have obviously watched a few other YouTubers playing this. To be honest, that's kind of what got me to buy this game. I was actually set on a budget of 1 game per month, and I just blew that because I bought this as my second game for February. So watching those other YouTubers didn't do me any favours, because it made me stick my hands deeper into my pockets and purchase Dirt Rally 2.0. But I'm really glad I did. I liked what I saw in the videos, and I thought, I can't wait for this game. I just want to get my hands on it. And now I've got it, I'm actually really happy with what Codemasters have done with Dirt Rally 2.0. Really good job so far. Oh, I nearly had that then. I threw it into that U-turn, handbraked it, and as I did, the steering wheel kind of flicked out on me. It may sound strange because I'm using a controller, but it kind of kicked out as I went round and just threw me out of sync. I would have gone round that really nicely otherwise. So I beat my time again, so 3 minutes 11 seconds, which is, what is that? That's almost a second and a half off my third run in the Mini Cooper S. I'm quite happy with that. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Obviously, what I wanted to set out in this video was just to show you the H1 class of vehicles and what choice of cars you've got. All of these are forward wheel drive vehicles, all of them natural aspiration, all of them full geared manual as well, by the way. And there's my 7th place in the world at this moment in time. Obviously, if you guys want to hit this time trial and show me your times in the comments, feel free to do so. I'm happy to get the competition. But from a first impression perspective, as I said earlier, this is definitely for me an 8, maybe even a 9 out of 10 game. Very impressed so far. Enjoy the replay. I'm going to. I've earned this. And hopefully, if you enjoyed the video, maybe drop me a like, maybe subscribe to the channel, and hopefully come back and watch some more videos with me sometime in the future. Thanks again. Take care. Keep well. Keep watching, and most importantly, come back soon.
One around bridge, into 5 right of a tightens, into slow 4 right, extra long over crest tightens, into 3 left. Extra long to crest and flat right 80. 5 left long, opens, into 6 right, over finish,